What are your thoughts on just getting ready for your first game of the season?
Really excited. I know our players, our coaches, extremely excited. Through all this, it seemed at times you'd never thought of the day that this would kind of begin, and you'd start having game week again. And so, just feel extremely blessed for the opportunity to go out there with my guys and coach football and watch those guys compete and have fun. I think the energy's been great. We've obviously been preparing for HBU now for a couple weeks, and so energy's been great. I think just getting to the game plans and diving into what their systems are on each side of the ball and special teams. Wrapping our minds around that. And last week we kind of had a mock game week to where we kind of started transitioning into some of the scout team works and how that was supposed to look and how we were supposed to get those guys looks in those meetings. And so everything's been great. Again, really excited about the opportunity to go out and coach this week.
What do you know about Houston Baptist defensively so far, and just kind of getting to know their coaches, their personnel, their schemes?
Yeah, they're based a little bit more out of a four-man front. They play heavy with their safeties, and they like to. Those guys are aggressive, fitting in the run. And they do a nice job of reading route concepts and having their eyes right. And at the end of the day, it's their style. And again, we've started transitioning, go against some four-man front stuff, and I know our guys are excited to go out there and compete. Our job offensively is to make sure that first and foremost, we own the ball, we take care of the football, and just like I tell our guys, go out there and make routine plays. If it's good enough in practice, it's going to be good enough in the game, and go out, have fun, and compete.
Seth, when some of the other conferences made the decisions they did to postpone their seasons, did you allow yourself to even think that we might not be able to get to where you are right now, or were you strictly focused on making this happen?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say at times. There's days that go by. Some days were better than others. It's like anyone. There was some ups and downs along the way. Are we going to play? Are we not going to play? But there was a certain point to where we got kind of within our OTAs, I would say, kind of your walkthroughs, to where you're out there and eventually, like just telling the guys, I mean, all we can do is focus on what we can control. We can't control any decisions. We can't control what anybody else is going to do. All we can do is focus in and try to get prepared and ready to play a football game. And so our guys, I'm really proud of our guys, the way they've handled themselves, because it can be an up and down process, emotional process. But they've handled it with maturity. I think our coaches have handled it very well. And, since we started those OTAs, I've had one focus, and that's getting ready for this week.
Other than quarterback play, what are some good things you've seen offensively, just from receivers, running backs, and the offensive line?
Are you talking about there? I couldn't hear your question. I'm sorry.
I was saying, other than the quarterback play on offense, what are some good things you've seen offensively, just from receivers, running backs, and the O-line?
You talking about my offense or HBU's offense?
Yes.
Our offense?
Your offense.
Okay,
Yes,
I apologize. Couldn't understand that question.
no, it's all good.
No, I think obviously the depth of our running back room has been a huge plus for us. Guys with a lot of experience, guys that can you feel really good about rotating in and out, making sure they stay fresh. I think they've had a very, very good camp. Our receivers, I think Darden, Jair, Austin Ogamakin, Greg White, Deion Hare Griffin. I think that's another very explosive group along with Deontay Simpson and. They've had a really solid camp and making sure they've got the rhythm of timing of the quarterbacks. I think they're where they need to be. You worried a little bit, and listen, the biggest growth is going to be from game one to game two, obviously, and that's every season. But I like where they're at. I like where their mind's at, how they've worked. I would have thought maybe would have been a little bit further behind just because of all the different things we've had to face, but. I think both those guys or both those groups are really prepared, and I think we have some weapons for sure. I think our tight end play has been as good as it's been at a physicality standpoint, understanding our blocking schemes, and being able to get out there and athletic enough to where they're physical within the box, whether it's on the ball, off the ball. But being able to move those guys around with their athleticism and, forcing defenses not just to play, bigger sets, but, being able to get in big sets and then also flex those guys out into space, gives you, some advantages there. So I feel good about that group. Offensive line-wise, I think I feel good about that group as I have since I've been here. I think Coach Blesh has done an unbelievable job with them. I think our run game is continuing to improve, and the biggest crutches we've had kind of in the past a little bit is protecting the quarterback, and I think we're much better at this point than we've been in the past, in my opinion. So again, I'm really excited to get out there and watch those guys compete live against somebody else other than our defense, but I like where we're at.
Speaking of quarterbacks, you guys' depth chart came out. You've got your two guys, Austin, Ani, and Jason Bean listed as an or there. Where do you stand with those guys, and how do you feel about where you're at?
I feel good about where we're at. I know both those guys. They've had good camps. I know we can win with both those guys, and at the end of the day, like I've told them, they're both going to play. It's a matter of, if someone gets hot, one may play a little more. Just how we're going to face it at this point. Who goes out there first? I've always been told growing up, don't ever show a man your cards. So, we'll find out game one. But I like where we're at with those guys, and not only those two guys. I think, again, Cason Martin had a really good camp. I think he's as much as proved as anybody, and so it's a fabulous room. They all have good chemistry. They coach each other out there on the field. So, it's like anything. You go out there and let them get in and get comfortable, and they both deserve the right to go out there and compete. And so, as we go, we'll see.
The advantage is if you have two quarterbacks, you don't really have one. I'm not saying that that's the case here, but do you feel comfortable going into the season with not having a definitive guy like maybe you did?
I feel better. To be honest with you, Brett, I feel better about where we're at because now I feel like we truly have two guys that can win football games for us. And like I told them, it's going to be a long season. You never know. We test 3 times a week. And so you never know when that opportunity, not only for either one of those two, but the entire room has to be prepared and ready. And so, to be honest with you, I feel good about having 2 guys and really 3 guys that I feel like can manage a football game, get the ball to our playmakers, and win us football games. And so I look at it differently, and I understand from the standpoint in years past when you see 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one, but that's not the case in my opinion. I feel like we do. And so but at the end of the day, that's you can look out there on Saturday and you can have your opinion.
Seth, what kind of shot in the arm do you think college football will give a society that is starving for any sense of normalcy?
Well, I think it's just the excitement of getting those sports back and watching guys go out there and compete in the fall and, being able to, get fans out there, even though it may be on a limited basis, but allowing our fans, our students, our players to go out and, it just kind of brings everybody together. I know everybody's been thirsting for it, and it's been a long season for everybody. It's been not only for athletes but for students. The up and down of am I going back to school? Your jobs, and there's just so much that everybody's been up in the air about for the last months. It's just finally exciting to be able to. We're not getting back to per se normal, but there's starting to get a feeling of, especially when things like this come back to where we're able to go out there and compete, some sort of normalcy. So I'm excited for everybody. I'm excited for, again, our coaches, our players, our students, our alumni, our fans. I mean, I'm excited for everybody. And so the biggest thing, I'm blessed to, I feel grateful that I'm able to have a job and coach the sport. And that's what, just not taking it for granted.
Last week, Coach, college football players all across the country took time away from practice to either have conversations, have peaceful protests against social injustice. Did you and your players have any sort of conversations? And if so, how did they go?
Yes, we have had conversations, and a matter of fact, not only addressing it with our teams, continuing to talk about it, but also I think our conference has done an unbelievable job. We had a great meeting this week with Conference USA. Merton ran it along with Judy, and with every head coach and every school every team had about 12 representatives from each school on there, and just have an open dialogue. And it was amazing to hear these young men on that Zoom call, just some of the different feelings, emotions, different ideas, different ways that we can continue to help. Not only within our own schools, but unite as a conference. Again, we all in this conference, obviously, we all have dreams and goals to strive for championships, and we all compete against each other, in order to do that. So yes, we want to win, but there's a brotherhood as well within this conference, and the way that these players opened up and talked to each other. It was pretty impressive, and so we're going to continue with our leadership council to talk through things along with our team and finding different ways, that we can continue to grow, open eyes, share hearts, just find different ways to make our country better. That's what we're all looking to do, and so I'm proud of our team, but honestly, I'm proud of Conference USA. I'm proud of every representative on that call from every team. There's some really impressive young men on there that I was by no means shocked, but just impressed. It was a great meeting.
How did Ani and Bean handle the decision to go with the co-quarterbacks thing? Were they both, open to the whole scenario and okay with it?
Listen, they go out there and compete with themselves every day. Obviously, you're competing against each other, but more importantly, yourselves. And the great thing about that room, it's great chemistry. They pull for each other. They help each other out. They both know they both deserve to play. And it is, obviously, you want to be the guy. You want to be the quarterback. Make no mistake about that. And I'm not going to ever say that they're fine with not being named the starter this day. But they both understand kind of where we're at, and they had a great day today. And so this is really the first practice. We kind of talked about it, and they went out there, and they both are focused in on the game plan and, helping their teammates out. And I thought it was a fabulous day. Again, if you knew them in person, I guess the type of men they are, I would say that you can kind of see where I'm coming from. There's no look. They're happy for each other, and again, someone's going to separate themselves. And at the end of the day, ultimately, you want to name a starter. But at this point, I don't think there's any reason going into this first game. I think it's allowing them to go out there and just go out there and compete, have fun. And like I told them, you don't have to press. You got playmakers around you. Both of you guys are going to have playmakers around you, and it's about just going out there and executing. And time will take care of that whenever we kind of move forward and make an ultimate decision.
Seth, I know you focus what's going on the field, but with less fans at this game and the games this year, what do you think the atmosphere is going to feel like and the experience for you as a coach?
Look, for me, I'm telling you, I'm extremely excited to go out there and compete. Yes, I would love to have a full stadium and sold out crowd and feeding off that energy, and absolutely, that's what we all coach and play this game for. But at the same time, we ultimately play it to go out there and compete and do what we love. And so, it's going to be maybe a little different. You're going to maybe have to feed off each other a little bit more than maybe feeding off a crowd. But I know that whoever's in our stadium, I know they'll bring a lot of energy and excitement. But as if you played the sport and any sport, once the ball's kicked off, you kind of feed off that. But in between plays, a lot of times the noise drowns out. And so you can't hear a lot of it anyway. And so once the game starts, it's going to be like any other. Obviously, I'm excited for our fans, and we want them to come and bring that energy. But I'm just ultimately excited to see our guys go out and compete again.
Collectively, how well have the new coaches on staff cooperated with some of the new guys that are trying to earn a spot?
I'm sorry, I
on both sides of
can't,
the
for
ball?
whatever, I apologize. I'm having a hard time understanding you.
Oh, sorry about that. How well have the coaching staff, like the new guys on staff, how well have they cooperated with the guys trying to earn a spot on both sides of the ball? Some of the new coaches, how have they fared with some of the guys trying to earn a spot?
Well, and there's always cooperation. That's part of this building the relationships, through fall camp and getting to know one another. And ultimately, the thing that you want is, players got to go out and earn their jobs, and they got to go out and compete. And like I tell them, it's your job to make the team better when you're in there. And you got to prove that. As coaches, we got to make sure we do everything to put them in the right situations and set them up to have that success. And at the end of the day, as coaches, we're going to try to put the best guys out on the field that can help us win football games. That's ultimately our jobs to do that. And we have an obligation not only to 116 players, our fans, our families, everybody, to make sure we try to make those right decisions. And I think the relationships have been going great. I think we have a great coaching staff. I think these group of players, these men, are they got a phenomenal attitude, and it's been good. If that answered your question.
Yes, it does. I guess I didn't phrase it right. That's on me. I apologize.
No, it's okay.
Coach, you made a,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
okay. So, Coach, after last year, you made a pretty big statement that you were going to take a top to bottom look at the program and how you could get back to where you were winning 9 games a year. How do you feel like that evaluation and what you went through in the offseason went, and are you happy with where you ended up?
I am happy where we ended up. We've made some changes. We've made tweaks to different systems. Sometimes it's getting fresh eyes, fresh ideas. Sometimes it's soul searching. And I'll be the first to tell you, I'm pretty open about that. I think it all starts with me, and you got to look yourself in the mirror as a leader and look, it's my job to make sure we accomplish the mission as the leader of this team. And so, trust me when I tell you, I've had a lot of time to self-reflect over the last few months, along with probably everyone. And so, I like where our team's at. I like the meetings we've had. Just some of the different ways we've had to interact and communicate. I think the communication is much better because of some of the things we've had to do. And so, I feel good about where we're at. Again, we still got to go out and compete, and it's our job to make sure that we put them in positions to win. But overall, I think we're sitting in a good place.
Did you feel like you needed a dramatic change after last season, after you sat down and talked with some of your mentors and
Well, I think
the program?
Yeah, I think a lot goes into it, and I don't know if dramatic change is the word I would use. You're always looking to make changes. You're always looking to become better, and that's whether it's as a coach, as a player, within your system. You're always going to have to do that. But anytime you don't have the success that you feel like you should have had or could have had, ultimately you got to man up and figure out what those reasons are. And so that's what we've tried to do. I've tried to do it obviously on a personal level, with our players, with our staff, continuing to talk through it and figure out the best ways for us to compete and win championships. Because ultimately that's what I've never been scared to say that. That's what we're here to do. And so we got a great administration. We have a great program. You're given the resources here to be successful. Sometimes, hard things happen throughout a season. You can't ever, there's some things you can't control, but there's other things that you can control, and you got to focus in on what you can control. And so that's what we've tried to do. And again, I'm excited to, go out there and prove that we can get back to where we need to be.
You ready to call the plays this season? That was something you said you were going to do in the offseason. Is that something you're still planning on doing? Is it something you're looking forward to?
Absolutely. I've had more fun, again, being out there and calling it, and just gets me, I don't know, I've missed it, obviously. And so it's been a lot of fun. So, yes,
Coach, real
I'm really
quick.
excited.
Real quick, Coach, for those who follow you and for those who are part of your platform, what is your message in the fight for social justice, and how can you use your platform to positively impact that change?
Well, I think
Correlate.
we got to continue, obviously, we got to continue to come together and express and talk and communicate and open eyes and understanding that we all need to make all of us better. And I think sports, it's a great platform because it's a great example of a big team, a diverse group that come from all different backgrounds, face, whatever that is, and watching those men and coaching staffs and that family come together and truly care about one another for who they are, I think it's huge. And it's amazing that kind of happens through sports, and it's out there for everyone to see. Yet, for whatever reason, sometimes when you get outside of that family atmosphere, there's a lot of breakdown still. And so, look, we're all continuing to strive to be better, to again educate ourselves, and still, just coming together not only as a family, but taking that outside to our communities, taking that outside to everywhere we go, just try to help make that change. But I do think it's sports brings people together because it doesn't matter where you're from. When you're a part of this family, everybody's treated the same, everybody's respected the same, and so it's what family's about. And I think we can do that in our country. I think our country, it's still, we're all pulling, maybe, I don't care what political, religion, where you're from, what's your background. I think we should all be able to come together as family, one love another, and that's just my belief and my faith.
Thank you.
Just to finish that line of questioning we were talking about before about the offseason, how tough was that process of evaluating the program over the offseason?
It's always a challenge, right? I mean, anytime you have to first look yourself in the mirror, it's not always easy. And you have to ask, guys you trust, hard questions that, that sometimes only your wife will tell you. And you don't want to hear them. But that's part of being in that leadership position is making sure that you're going to, first and foremost, check yourself and figure out the best ways that you can fix the things that you need to fix. And then being able to have open, real conversations with coaches and players, and that's the only way any of us get better. But it's always a challenge because none of us truly want to look ourselves in the mirror at times. Maybe we don't like what we're seeing at that point. But there's always ways to continue to grow as long as you just trust the people around you. They trust you, you trust them. Everybody shoots each other straight. To me, that's the best way to fix a lot of problems.
This is going to be the leadership element of this team this last year. We always kind of identified that with Mason and Ladarius and some guys like that, Kyrie, and they've all since graduated this last year. Have you guys seen a new batch of leaders emerge with this program that can kind of help take you where you want to go?
Yeah, there's no doubt. I think, we've been working on that for quite a while through, all the different meetings we had and through all the shutdown and coronavirus stuff. So, we have a great leadership council that communicates very well. A lot of the time, sometimes you'll have these committees or a council that, you're going to have these meetings. There's not a lot of, I think guys get tired of talking or they don't talk much and there's not a lot of interaction. I think this group's been great, finding different ways to not only become better teammates, but trying to reach out to other guys on this team and trying to make everyone better. And I do like the leadership of this team. I like where we're at with our team captains. I'm excited about this group. I really am. Different years are different, and no year is the same, but I do like where we're at with our leadership and our guys.
So you guys have picked your team captains? You just haven't announced them yet?
Yes, we have. I'll announce them. I'm good. It doesn't. I'm sure we'll put something out. I actually just told our team this morning who they voted on, who they elected, and Jalen Darden was obviously on offense. He was elected as team captain. Jacob Brammer, Manasseh, Mose. On defensive side of the ball, you had Deion O'Ville, K.D. Davis, and then special teams, you had Nate Durham. And so there's a reason why those guys, got voted on, and they do a great job within our team, I'm really excited about that group. And again, there was a lot of other players on our team. That's the great thing about it, is there's a lot of other guys that receive votes, and that's what you're looking for. Ultimately, you got to pick the guys, who got voted on the top. But I do think, just because those 6 are our team captains, I do think we have a lot more leadership on this team, and we're continuing to develop some of these young guys to grow and to grow into that role kind of in the future. And so I think it's been good.
Now that you're to kick off here, how good do you think this team can be? You're pretty confident that you guys can get to where you want to go and back to the postseason? I'm
confident in this group, yeah. There's no doubt in my mind. I think we can play at a high level. I'm excited about these guys. Again, all you can do is control what you can control. We got to stay healthy, obviously. That's every team in the country. But I have a lot of confidence in this group, and they've done nothing else to show me any different, and so that's where we're at.
Cam to safety. What went into the decision to move him from corner to safety? That was one of those depth chart moves that really kind of stood out.
Coach Bowen, he's the defensive coordinator, so maybe that's a question you should ask him. But just getting the best guys on the field. I think Cam definitely has the ability to be a great corner, but also we have other guys at that position that we feel like are doing well there, and it's a way to continue to put a great guy on the field. Maybe it gives you a little better coverages in some different areas, but ultimately, I'm gonna let you. I coach offense. Obviously, I'm the head coach, but I think Coach Bowen does an unbelievable job on defense, and he makes those decisions ultimately.
And just house cleaning wise, now that you're down to the week of camp here, you still have everybody in the boat. Nobody's opted out or had any problems with COVID testing or anything like that.
We're good to go.